Hello and welcome. We're doing a little video check-in. In these times, there are some challenges, and we're trying to do our best to communicate messages from the City of Yakima. And today I've got Randy Beeler, the Communications and Public Affairs Director for the City of Yakima, with me. And he's going to give us a little bit of update. We're going to do a little video message for everybody with some information today. Thank you for joining me today, Randy.
Thanks, Sean.
So the first thing we'll talk about is, what is the city doing to provide essential services? What essential services are you providing?
So under the stay home, stay healthy order that was issued by Governor Inslee, whenever that was, a couple weeks ago, all of the government services on a local level, county level, state level are considered essential. So all of the services that the city provides are still being provided. But one thing that we're really encouraging people to do, most of the city facilities are either completely closed or closed to public access. For instance, City Hall, where I am right now, it's closed to public access, but people can still conduct business with the city, pay water bills, sign up for utility service, pay their refuse bills, file a permit, apply for a permit for a building permit. You can still do all of those things online. And also some other electronic means. Telephone always works.
Right.
And on the City of Yakima's website at www.yakimawa.gov, there are a lot of options for people to continue to conduct business with the city during the COVID-19 emergency, just not in person.
And also they're providing essential services like fire department's still responding, police are still responding, refuse. Talk a little bit about refuse.
Yeah, refuse in particular, we're asking people for cooperation because, as you might imagine, well, maybe you wouldn't imagine, maybe it's not something the average person would really think about, but with a lot of people home right now, a lot more than usual, a lot longer than usual, the amount of garbage that's being disposed of has increased significantly. The Yakima County landfill is closed right now to individuals, but it's still open to municipalities and other waste haulers. But for the Yakima refuse, what we're asking, actually, the hours have switched. They switched them to summer hours.
Right.
I guess it was end of last week. Doesn't really affect most homeowners that much or garbage customers that much. You just need to make sure that your cart is out there at 6 a.m. instead of 6:30. Instead of 6:30 a.m. on days when you're having your garbage picked up. Secondly, please don't put anything next to the bin, the cart that you use for the City of Yakima garbage. Don't put boxes or bags. That would require the driver to actually get out of the truck, and we don't want to have that happening. And lastly, it would be a real big help to control garbage so it doesn't blow and so forth by bagging your garbage. So most people have an inside garbage can that hopefully has a bag in it, just instead of dumping that into the big Yakima waste or the Yakima refuse bin, please just keep it back.
Right. Now, also another thing that's going on in the city, regular business, is irrigation has started up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Irrigation service began yesterday.
April 1st. Yeah,
April 2nd. So, regular irrigation service started yesterday, and you just got to make sure that your pipes and hoses and all of that is in working order, but also make sure that your faucets are turned off, because that water is flowing now. It takes a little while for the whole system to get what's called charged,
right? The
water flowing through the whole system, but you just don't want to have a surprise and have one of those faucets left on and then water flowing in your yard. So just make sure of that.
Wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming council meeting. Most of the meetings have been canceled or postponed. But there will be a council meeting coming up. Can you give us a little bit of details on that?
Yeah, the governor's order also includes some relaxation of what's called the Open Public Meetings Act, OPMA. And part of the relaxation of those rules during this emergency is that there are not requirements for public to be able to attend the meeting of a local governing body. Normally, that is the case, that all of those meetings have to be publicly accessible. That has changed. That is not the case in this COVID-19 emergency. So the meeting that's going to take place on Tuesday, April 7th, the council will be conducting that primarily telephonically. All of the council members, except maybe the mayor, will call in to that meeting. and business will be conducted as normal. There's a public hearing that day for a project, and that public hearing will proceed. There will be a phone number. There will be a phone that people can call in and comment during that public hearing, but no public comment is going to be allowed for the rest, just a general public comment. That has been suspended as well. We're looking at options as we move forward, possibly something like this, Zoom, or some other conference call-like technology. The council has indicated it would like to continue to have meetings. Part of the governor's order says you can only deal with issues that are related to COVID emergency, or possibly also that are necessary or routine. We have to approve a contract, those kinds of things. So the council will continue to meet, and that will all be accessible to the public on the city's website, live streamed, and also, of course, on YPAC Spectrum Channel 194. So we're making every effort to continue to allow that governing body, the city council, to meet and conduct business, but it's just changed a bit.
Now, will there be more meetings coming up in April, or is there just one meeting? You had mentioned that before.
Yeah, there's a meeting on April 7th, and then there's another council meeting that's scheduled right now, scheduled anyway for April 21st. Okay. And we're evaluating as we move forward, as everybody is aware. This is evolving quickly. Our plans may change, but at this point in time, the April 21st meeting will also take place.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the city's role. The Astrea Health Building, the Astrea Hospital Building, there's been some changes there. Can you talk about that and the city's role in what the city would do in that situation?
Well, we've actually gotten a lot of questions about that over the last several weeks, and the city does not have a role in the operation or regulation of the hospital. That is the responsibility of the Washington State Department of Health. That is the entity that approves the operation of hospitals. Earlier this week, there was a request made because Astrea Health, that particular property is in bankruptcy right now. So there was a request made in the bankruptcy court, and the bankruptcy judge said, okay, yes, we can move forward with using Astrea as a temporary emergency overflow medical facility. Just yesterday, the Army Corps of Engineers, the Washington State Department of Health is part of the Washington State Department of Military. Not a lot of people know that. It doesn't matter that much. Yeah. But that's why you kind of see the Army Corps of Engineers involved in this. They were here yesterday. We're evaluating the facility. And now what's happening is the necessary retooling and upgrading of the facility is taking place. There isn't, at this point anyway, a known opening date, but that information ought to be coming pretty soon. But again, the city's only role would be if there were some building that needed to take place, upgrades that needed to take place. That would be our role in evaluating the application for permits. But other than that, the city does not have a role.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about enforcement of Governor Inslee put the stay-at-home order in place, like you said, last week or so. Talk about that and the city's role in enforcement. Is the city doing anything to enforce that?
Well, the primary responsibility for enforcing the governor's order here is the responsibility of the Washington State Department of Health. There's also an emergency order that was put in place by the Yakima Health District, which locally, the health district is responsible for enforcement. Local police are not at this point in time involved in any enforcement of the orders. And that can be, I think, a little confusing to people. Why wouldn't they? Well, it's just not charged. They have not been authorized to do that by any authority at this point, they being law enforcement. That could come. It could happen, but at this point, it's not contemplated. There's also been a question with regard to National Guard being present and potentially enforcing some of the orders that have put in place. That is not happening as of right now. There are some National Guard folks in the area, in the Yakima area, but they're primarily helping with the transport of supplies. Currently don't have an enforcement role.
So let's talk about where people can find information about this. They can visit the city's website. There are multiple places. Can you give some examples?
Well, obviously there is so much information out there, and it's really important that we get our information from trusted and verifiable sources. there's a lot of rumors going around, and it's really our obligation to help control the spread of COVID-19, but also to help control the spread of rumors. Some of the most reliable sources, you can go to the Yakima website, City of Yakima website. We have a specific COVID-19 page, and on that page there are links to very reliable sources like the Yakima Health District, the County Emergency Management Office, Washington State Department of Health, and of course the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Those are all reliable sources to get information from, and you're encouraged to make use of those.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We've covered a lot of ground. One more question for you. What is your isolation trick? How do you isolate and keep yourself sane? I suppose is the easiest way to put it.
Well, for me personally, I have been coming to work because as a government employee,
right,
I'm an essential worker. So I still have had that routine, which frankly, I feel fortunate that I have that.
Right.
When I am at home, my wife is working from home. She owns a little computer consulting company. She does work from home, and it's challenging, but we don't have the same challenges. My wife and I don't have the same challenges a lot of people do with taking care of kids who are home from school or some of that other stuff. So we hang out with our dogs a lot, watch a lot of TV, and I'm also getting a lot of work done around my house and some projects that have been delayed. I'm getting work done on those.
Right. Quality time together.
Yes, very much so.
Is there anything else we should talk about? This is our attempt to do some social distancing, get some messaging out to the people. I very much appreciate you joining me today. Is there anything else that we should get out there?
Please remember, can't say it enough, keep that social distance. That's our most potent defense against COVID-19. And as Governor Inslee says when he ends his news conferences, wash your hands.
Right. Wash, 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 wash. Okay, thank you very much, Randy, for joining me today. And we'll send it back to everybody out there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.